Hello, friends. One of you asked me, Julie, to do a regular tutorial on this fun little flower here. Isn't it colorful and beautiful? It's really easy. Wait till you guys see. So let's go ahead and get started. I am going to be using my Artisto pad. This is 140-pound cold press. And, the reason I like these is because I can journal and catalog these and keep them to reference back. I will go ahead and label this with the date and season or something like that. And then I just keep these and I reference back to them. They're also, I love them. They've got a real great texture to them. I like cold press. But make sure you're using watercolor paper. I'm going to be using my angle shader. This is the number 8. Love this brush. So many fun things you can do with it. One of them being this type of brush stroke. And then we're going to double load our brush. So we're going to get this beautiful little ombre effect. By the way, my brushes are going to be released one more time. Probably within the next week or so, we'll be doing a live. I know a lot of you had signed up for them. It was last year since we released the first set. So stay tuned. I'll be sharing more with that. So what we're going to do, and by the way, I've got my wash water and my rinse water in my beautiful little MEEDEN ceramic cup. I love the MEEDEN ceramic palettes and water dishes. They're just so nice and clean on my desk and just really easy for me to have on my desk because I don't get distracted. Okay, so the first one that we're going to do is that purple and that beautiful blue. Excuse me. I'm using the MEEDEN palette, but I am using the larger one. This one just happens to have the little metallics in it, but absolutely you can use your regular Paul Rubens MEEDEN, or MEEDEN, MeiLang. My goodness, that's a tongue twister. Not MEEDEN palette. This is a MeiLang palette. So is that one. And then in this palette I've got sitting here, in case you see me dipping into that, I've got... I use tubes, the MeiLang tubes, and I just put those in there. So what I want to do first is I like to have a little bit of a, where I'm going to be placing my flowers. So I'm using, this is a pearl wing pencil, and I've got my little eraser in there, which I love because you can replace those. Otherwise, I've got sitting everywhere pencils with no erasers. So I like this one. The first flower I'll do, I'm going to put right here. So I'm just going to draw in a little bit of the base of that. And then I will do another one right here. So I'm just placing them in there so I know about where I want to start with my brush strokes. And then I'll do a little one here, maybe there, maybe here, and then we'll have our stems coming down. So I like this. It's kind of this nice flow once I get my flowers in there compositionally. And we're going to make sure that we, let me show you, create some harmony too, because I've got my blue and purple in a zigzag. So here, here, or here, here. And then I've got my orange one here. And if I didn't add this one, your eye would kind of get stuck right there and not go anywhere. So I did add in one more little flower over there, just in case you're wondering how I kind of came up with that. All right, so what I'm going to do first is dip one side. And as you can see, this angle brush, it's got this beautiful angle on it, which I love. And I'm just going to put that into, this is the red violet. And then on the other side, I'm going to dip it into our very favorite turkey blue. So I've got 2 colors on there. And now I'm just going to put my brush, just that angle, just that tip with the short side down. And I'm going to start kind of wiggling my brush and creating those. So look at that. And that so fun. Look at the beautiful ombre effect. Now I'm going to water that down just a tiny bit. I don't want too much water. And then I'm just going to follow around. Same thing, but see, I've got a different value, so that's going to create some really nice interest. And then here. And look at that. Isn't that so pretty? Now I'll let that, well, let's go in one more time. So I'm going to dip the short end, and you can always switch these up and dip the long end, you know, just reverse how you put the colors on your brush. That's totally fine. I think that's what I did in my original. And then I'm going to go in here and just add in some more like that. Isn't that so fun? I love it. We could even do a couple extras in here, you know, just play and do what you feel called to. So this is a little bit different than the first time. I went in and I'm kind of going back and forth with the short end down. So you can do that as well. Now I'm going to rinse that color out of my brush, wash it, rinse it, tap it off. And before this gets dry, I'm going to use my 8 and go into the center with some green, because I want to get a little bit of a bleeding in there with the purple. And then just the tip of my brush and bring it down, maybe just a bit thicker. Let me go into, grab just a bit more of that. And there we've got our first flower. Isn't that so pretty, you guys? And play with the different colors here and choose, you know, what color you like best. So my next one I'm going to do, make very sure you wash and rinse that brush, because you don't want to carry the purple over into the yellow and orange, or you'll get a muddy color. So I'm going to dip the base of my brush, the short end, into the yellow, and then I'm going to go in with that beautiful bright red on the long end, maybe just a little bit more of that yellow. And now the same technique. I'm going to start here, up and down. Ooh, it looks like a sunset, doesn't it? So pretty. And then we just keep going around that. And notice you start getting a little bit lighter because the paint is wearing off. There we go. So maybe let's reverse it and do red on, oops, let me start that over. Reverse it by putting the red on the short end and the yellow on the long end. And we're gonna go opposite. So like that. Oops, that red kind of took over, didn't it? That's okay. There we go. And look at the beautiful, beautiful color variation we get there. So wash, rinse my brush, make sure all of those bright reds and yellows are out of there. And I could tell because when I go on my brush, see there's a little bit of red in there. It's fairly clear. Now take that 8. Let's go into the center. And just like that, we've got our 2 flowers already. Aren't they so pretty? This would be really pretty too. Dipping one side in like your gold metallic MAB. Let me see if I got that here. Golden Series. I didn't do that on the original, but I think it would be really pretty. And I'm actually getting quite low here. Let me see if I have another one. I do. You could either go over this, what you've got here, with some gold, or you could do half and half. You could double load. So one side gold, one side maybe purple or whatever color you want. Let me grab, those are all getting kind of low. As you can see, I use the same one. So the Brilliant Gold is really the one I predominantly use. If I can get that out of there. That's the one I seem to run out of a lot. And let's just double load rather, the tip of my brush. There we go. And then I'll go in on the other side with that orange or red. There we go. And we'll go in and create this little one. So watch this. Oh, look at that. Isn't that so pretty? Oh my gosh. Wow. And I'm just going to make this one kind of small. So I'm going, oh shoot, I put my hand in there. I'm going around the last petals. You can even go over the purple if you want. Like that. Look how pretty that is. And then we'll go into our green, which I kind of made a mess of there. And with these, whenever they look a little bit like a carnation, I put the little squiggles in, because to me, that's very carnation looking. So I'm holding my brush upright and just using the tip of my brush like that. We're going to leave this one just as it is because that's okay. A happy mistake, as Bob Ross would say, right? All right, so rinsing my brush, let's go over here and bring a purple flower over here. So we've kind of got the purple falling over into this side. So I'll go back in, but I'm gonna reverse it this time. So I'm gonna put the blue on the short edge and the purple on the long edge. So just dipping my brush in that blue, and then the long edge into that violet. And let's go here. Oh, so pretty. I never tire of this technique. It's so fun. And you could even leave it just like that, and that would be plenty. I'm gonna rinse my brush just a little bit. I wish you could see the water. It's so pretty. And just add in another faint little layer here. There we go. Really pretty. And then we'll go in, and I can even use this brush for the green and pick up a tiny bit of that green and go in just like we did here. And that's what's great. You've got that tiny little point, so you can use it as well for the little squigglies. And then I think over here, I'm going to bring in, let me think about it a minute. I'm debating whether I should do the yellow or the purple. The yellow and the red or the purple. I think I'll do a faint purple right here. So let's go ahead and get some more of that purple. And either way, you can either load the tip of your brush or the short end, and then go into that blue. And let's just create one kind of coming up right here. These are so pretty. I just love doing these. And I'm just gonna make that one a little one. So I'm going to leave it just like that. But look how pretty that faded lighter value one is. Isn't that pretty? And then I'm going to grab that 8 brush again. And let's go in. There we go. And maybe some of those light touch. You just want to use the tip of the brush. So hold your brush up and down. And now look how fun. We've got these little flowers. So you can use either your 8 round brush, or we can make those fun leaves with this angle brush. And you know what? Let's just use, let's double dip for the leaves as well. So I'll dip one end into that green, and then we'll dip the other end maybe into some yellow. Let me spin that around. There we go. And let's start making some leaves. So I'm holding my brush so it's on that edge, that chisel edge. I'm gonna try and be careful here not to put my hand in my painting. Bring it up on its edge and then wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Look how pretty. And then let's do one maybe here. I feel like I want some blue on there. So I'm going to go into green and blue. Instead of that yellow, I'll dip into the turkey blue and my green. Okay. So let's do this. Holding my brush on its edge again, about 12 o'clock. Point, and then we start wiggling, and then turn on our side. Look at that. And that brings the blue into this as well. So let's do another one here. Tap into that green, a little bit maybe into the blue. There we go. And on our edge, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And one here, edge, press down more, wiggle, wiggle. So fun. Let's do one here, but I have to move my paper around. And we're just gonna flip the brush over. I have the long edge I'm starting with. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Come up on the tip and pull down. Look at the fun little leaves. We could do one here, and I think I want to go upwards. So point, press, up. Look at that beautiful ombre effect we get. Let's create one here. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. They just look like they're dancing, don't they? Maybe another one here. Point, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Like that. I mean, you could just go on and on and on, but I think we're about done. And look at how fun that is. It really gives you this sense of movement. We've got lots of fun things to catch our eye on. And adding the blue into the leaves, I think brought this beautiful coherency. Adding yellow to that one kind of draws the eye from here to this yellow, and then up here. We could have even added a little bit of gold to some of the leaves. Let's just do that for over here, because I think that way it'll bring our eye from this gold over to this gold. So if my gold is ready here, let's see, it kind of dried. And then we can go into our green. And let's create, I feel like I want to put it in this leaf. So I'm going to kind of go over this one. On the chisel edge, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Like that. And then let's do another one here. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Yeah. And that way it brings that gold into the rest of the painting. Now I might be getting carried away with the leaves, but you know, I start using this gold and I just get obsessed. And there you go. All right, everybody, I hope you give this a try. You could add a little bee in here, I think would be absolutely adorable, and it would bring some of the yellow up in here. So for that bee, you just do his little bee body. And then using a drier brush, because you've already got quite a bit of water there, I'm going to go into my Payne's Gray. And I want to show you this because I'm taking it out of my actual pan and it's a little dry because I don't want it to spread too much. So that's that water control we talk about. And I'll just go in between here, in between there, maybe a little bit for his head, and then rinse my brush completely, tap it off. I want it a little bit wet because I'm going to do some wings here. So tap into that water, scrape it off, point, press, and then point, press, and it just gives this washy little kind of see-through wing there. So there you go, you guys. I hope you have fun with this. Remember, just play. I can't wait to see the colors you come up with. There's so many beautiful combinations. Pink and red would be gorgeous. And if you have those gold metallics, you could play with that as well. And I can't wait to see what you do. Hop on over to Patreon. And there's a free membership there and lots of other goodies you can join, and show us your paintings over there. We have a wonderful community there. I love our little small community there. And I'll be right here reminding you, happy painting, and you are an artist. I'll see you soon.